I wanted to explore a couple of the ideas that I started talking about yesterday in a little bit more detail. I thought this image by Gustave Doré for Dante Alighieri's Divine Comedy, the Inferno, was a nice background, so I hope you like it. The first thing that I wanted to address was why someone would invoke a demon. What's the point? Well, other than just sheer stupidity because you want to find out if it works or not, I think more than one teenager might find themselves in very hot water as a result of this. I think the mature reason why you would invoke a demon is to give it something to do other than wreak havoc in your life. I come from the perspective that demons are internal to us. They are a part of us, even though they may appear external to us. In fact, my contention is that everything is internal to us. My eyes are not windows, they are sensors. And the only reality that I can access is the interpretation that my brain generates from the data that it receives from my five senses. So I know that when I look in the distance, even what's all the way over there is something that my brain has generated for me to observe. Based on information, no doubt, but nevertheless, I don't have access to that outside world other than through the third party of my five senses. So I'm very happy with the idea that demons may be a part of me and be experienced as external to my body, which is also a construct of my brain as far as I know, as much as I am able to tell for certain. Okay, so the point of invoking a demon would be to give it something constructive to do. If demons are a part of us, then they are always a part of us, whether we like to think about it or not, whether we like to admit to it or not. They are always a part of us, and surely it's better to give such an entity a constructive task rather than let it do whatever it likes because we don't like to think about it. I think it's very uncomfortable to think about demons being a part of us whether we like it or not. It's very uncomfortable for us to think of demons as being there whether we dabble in the occult or not. In fact, I would say that the occult is precisely about making those demons known to us so that we can deal with them, so that we can get them under control. That's the point. The point is not to generate chaos. The point is not to bring evil into the world. No, the point is to take these unruly parts of our psyche under our control so that they no longer direct us, but we direct them. So that's the reason, the mature reason that is, why someone might invoke a demon, evoke a demon. The difference is that invoking is that you let it speak through you, and evoking is that you ask it to appear in front of you. Okay, so that's my ideas on why you would evoke a demon or invoke a demon. Next, with regards to the actual experience of the encounter, I've never evoked a demon into full appearance. There are plenty of methods for getting demons to do things for you that don't involve having it appear in front of you and having a conversation with it. As mentioned in my previous video, the book Demons of Magic by the Gallery of Magic it explains how to do that very clearly and safely. I think I've spoken about Aaron Leach's comment that demons are feral rather than evil, and therefore taking precautions is wise. They are not tame entities, they're not tame beings. Until you feel comfortable bringing these entities under your control without the help of thwarting angels and triangles of the art, then you probably should use those protections, those external protections. Jake Stratton Kent, who is a great proponent of speaking to demons without any protection, actually says you do need to let them know that you're a geezer. For those of you who aren't British, a geezer is a guy who is not afraid of getting his hands dirty. And while they're great fun to be around, you would regret messing with them. There you go. That's what you need to let the demons that you're invoking know that you are, according to Jake Stratton Kent. I think that I possibly agree to an extent with that. I think that if you are constraining a demon to do your will, then at the first loophole, it will break free, and you will not be pleased with the consequences. I think that the saying goes that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar, and I think that's possibly something to consider here. If you've got a demon that you are causing suffering to by constraining it in a triangle and pinning it down with various thwarting angels, then it's not going to be doing its task willingly. It's going to be doing it with just to make the pain stop or whatever it is, right? That doesn't seem like a very good situation for you, the person who is causing the pain, to this potentially very powerful being. Getting in their bad books might not be the best idea. I don't know. I haven't really finished wrestling with those concepts. Finally, the third thing that I wanted to address was the idea of offerings and how often that is mistaken for worship. I think that if you're looking into working with demons, whether you want to do it yourself or whether you're just researching it or finding out more about why people do it or how people do it, I think the first thing that's important to remember is that it's not something to be worshipped. The relationship is really the same relationship as you might have between a boss and an employee. The boss does make payments to the employee, but it's a payment that the boss is comfortable with. If the employee is not happy with that payment, then they don't have to take the job by all means. But the boss is not the one who gets bullied into making a payment that he or she doesn't want to make. The boss says, okay, well, I've got this job for so much money. If you're interested, come and do it. I think that if you are asking the demon what it wants and promising to do whatever it is, then you're setting yourself up for some nasty surprises. I think what's a much better idea is saying, well, what would be pleasing to you, and then decide if that's also acceptable to you, as the employer. Another side of things is, I once again rather like Aaron Leach's approach that it is energy. The offering is really giving this spirit the energy that it needs to perform the task that you've asked it to perform. You're asking an incorporeal being to have an effect on the physical world. That's going to require a lot of energy, and if it doesn't get the energy from somewhere, then it's not going to be able to perform that task. So making offerings can be viewed in that light as well, right? Just giving the entity what it needs to perform the task. So yeah, making offerings to a demon really is just like putting money in a parking meter. Putting money in a parking meter is not an act of worship. It's just a payment for a service. Now, the payment may not be acceptable to you, in which case you should not make that payment. When you see a very, very expensive car park, then maybe you're not prepared to pay that much for parking there. And you might go and look for somewhere else to park. Either way, I think that if the demon is the one calling the shots, then you're not achieving what you should be achieving with demons. You're not doing what you set out to do. You're giving the demon dominion over you rather than the opposite, which is really should be your goal. All right, well, those are some more considerations. I hope it was thought-provoking, and take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.